Welcome to another edition of the Wacky World of Work. Today on the program, I have a very special guest. His name is Bob Kulhan, and he is the CEO of Business Improvisations, a consultancy that teaches improv for business people. He is also an adjunct professor at both Duke and Columbia universities. Hey, Bob, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks, James. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. So I was riding the train in this morning, and I saw an article today about this guy. I don't know if you can see him, but that's Stephen Colbert. And I was thinking to myself, what can business leaders learn from watching a guy like Stephen Colbert in terms of improv?
Oh, a lot. In relation to improv or in relation to comedy, in relation to commitment, in relation to intelligence, in relation to spontaneity? Where do you want to go on this one?
Let's intelligence and spontaneity. I think those are important for business leaders, right?
Absolutely. Oh, we would hope. Okay, so intelligence. So Stephen Colbert, I was very fortunate as a 19-year-old to come from downstate Illinois, a town called Effingham, up to Chicago and take the summer intensive with the Players Workshop of the Second City before there was a proper Second City training center. And Stephen Colbert and Stephen Carell were on main stage Second City at the time. So I got to watch him and Stephen Carell perform an awful lot that summer. And what I understand about Stephen Colbert, especially from having some friends who write on his show and work on his show, is that he's a workhorse. So he's constantly learning new things. He's constantly pushing himself. He's studying intensely. Of course, he knows current events and pop culture and is an incredibly intelligent individual. And I think that lends itself to any spontaneity. If you don't have a firm base of intelligence and a desire to continue to learn, then you are going to limit how spontaneous you can be and how you can react and adapt in real time.
Sure. So tell me a little bit about what you do with your training. What is the first thing you do when people get into a classroom with you and you say, all right, go ahead and improvise? I'm sure it's not like that, but what exactly do you do?
It's a little bit more of a baby step that we do than just throw them in the deep end of the pool and say, swim now. The first thing we do is really create an understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. And then from there, once the collective, whatever the company might be, understands cognitively the who, what, when, where, why, and how of using improvisational techniques to strengthen the skill set related to whatever it is that we're working on, then we get up on our feet and then we just start running through improv exercises, improv games, improv scenarios, and continue just to break them down and then build them up so that there's a heightening inside the program as well.
Can you give me an example of a scenario you go over?
A scenario like an improv game?
Sure.
Well, a classic one that I think is probably used very often in any workshop is an exercise or a game called One Word Story.
Okay.
And you have a collective, and it could just be you and me right now. If you actually wanted to try this exercise, we could do it.
All right, sure. Let's go for it.
So the one word story works like this. You and I will tell a story one word at a time, and we'll just keep going back and forth. Oh, you're only allowed to say one word, not a hyphenated compound,
Okay.
not a bunch of words just smushed together that you're pretending one word. Just one single word, and we just tell this story.
Okay, we'll
So
try
in
it.
order to do that, we need a title of a story never told before. So why don't you grab that paper that you have and randomly put your hand or your finger on a couple of words, and that will be our inspiration.
Japanese snow monkey.
That's a pretty good title. Okay, so since you got the title, I'll start us with the first word, okay? And then you respond, and we'll just go back and forth this way, all right? Japanese
Snow
monkey
went
into
the
village
of
Shaolao.
but
He
could
not
find
the
door.
so
He
could not
open
the
cage
to
the
snow
monkey.
habitat.
Ooh.
All right, we're catching up. We do that a couple of times so that we
Sure.
can find our flow. En route, though, what we're doing is listening to each other very intensely. We're paying attention to each other. We're building off of each other. At no time did somebody negate what the other person was saying. Of course, I laid the very strict rule of one word, and then
Sure.
could not instead of can't.
Is nervous energy good for improvisation?
I think any energy is good for improvisation. So nervous energy for me is just misdirected focus, that you're focusing really more internally about what you're doing or why you're doing it or how you're doing. You get anxious as opposed to focus externally on the project, the process, the team, anybody else inside the team. You put that energy, that same energy that you're putting in, and push it out. It's great. It's the people who don't have any energy whatsoever that are hard to work with.
Does that happen a lot? And people come in, they're like, why do I have to be here? Oh, why am I doing this?
Yeah. I think anytime you force a group of people to do anything, you have a third that are excited to do it, a third that are on the fence, and a third that are rolling their eyes several times over backwards going, I don't want to be here.
Yes. So I was actually reading this story. It was on KQED's website. It's a public media outlet in California. And they were talking about jazz improvisation. And it's actually pretty interesting. The professor, Charles Lim, from Johns Hopkins, he said, musicians were turning off the self-censoring in their brain so they could generate novel ideas without restrictions when they were improvising. Is that something that you can train someone to do, to kind of turn off that inhibition?
Oh, absolutely. Without question. Improvisation is a learned behavior. Some have it a little more intuitively. They're just born, some are born with it, just like some are born better athletes, or some are born really with better scientific minds or analytical minds. However, really what we're focusing on is a skill set, and any skill set can get strengthened or sharpened, including the ability to suspend judgment, turn off those internal judgment devices, loosen the inhibitions, and just be present and in the moment.
Great. Well, it was wonderful talking to you today. Do you have a website that you can plug right now so people can find out more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Please visit businessimprov.com. The two words smashed together. And also, since it's the holiday season, if anybody wants my holiday song, Christmas Hot Pants, let me know and I'll send that out as well.
Do you want to sing a few verses of that?
Christmas hot pants, Christmas hot pants.
Woo!
It's the time of year, so do it. Come on to your Christmas hot pants.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I'd like to thank my guest today, Bob Kulhan. He is, of course, the CEO of Business Improvisations. And my name is James Tehrani, and this has been the Wacky World of Work. Thank you for joining us today. And if you come across a workplace oddity or have an idea for someone who I should talk to on the show, please, you can tweet it to me at... you can tweet it. I forgot my own Twitter handle.
Tweet it to me instead. I know mine.
Tweet it to Workforce James, or you can send me an email at editors@workforce.com. Thanks, and have a great holiday season, everybody.